Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and yesterday we discussed how the sons of Yadu dynasty, Samb and all the other princes, they went to Pindaraka Kshetra where all the sages they had assembled, and they dressed Samba as a pregnant woman, and they presented Samba in front of the sages and asked with feigning humility, with artificial humility, that this lady, she is pregnant and she is desirous to have a son. So please tell us if she will have a boy or a girl. And then as a result of this impudence, the sages, they cursed the Yadu dynasty, and they said that she will bear a club which will destroy the entire dynasty. So when this curse was heard by all the boys, they became so very afraid. They uncovered the abdomen of Samba and they found the club. So they became very fearful, afraid, disturbed. They went to the royal assembly and they presented this whole thing to Ugrasena. Ugrasena, he did not consult Krishna, nor did the boys, they went to Krishna because they were fearful of Krishna. So Ugrasena, he ordered that you crush this iron club into pieces and throw it into the ocean. So the whole club was crushed to pieces, but there was a small piece which was remaining. Everything was thrown into ocean. The small pieces, they were swept away by the waves of the ocean and they landed upon the shore, and they started growing into very, very strong canes, rods. And one small piece, it was swallowed by the fish, and the fish was caught by fishermen, and there was a hunter called Jara. He took out that iron lump and placed it on his arrowhead. So that's what we discussed, and we discussed in detail what was the purpose of this Maushala Leela. Why Krishna arranged the destruction of his own dynasty. And we discussed so many reasons of this destruction. So now we'll continue today. So in the end, we discussed that everything was happening under the direction of Krishna. So therefore, he did not, uh, take back. He did not counteract the curse, although he was capable of doing so. So now after this, Shukdev Goswami continues the discussion. He says that after understanding the curse on Yadu dynasty, Vasudev, he could understand that now Krishna is about to depart. And he was thinking, Vasudev is father of Krishna. So he was thinking, I have not taken association of Krishna properly. That is the mood of a great devotee of the Lord. Vasudeva is Nitya Siddha, devotee of the Lord, a pure devotee, eternal father of the Supreme Lord. He is feeling in his humility that I have not taken association of Krishna seriously. So he went to Narada Muni and he started asking various questions. So Shukdev Goswami, he says, Govinda Bhujaguptayam Dwaravatyam Kurudvaha Avatsin Narado Bhikshnam Krishno Pasana Lalasah. So Narad Muni and all the sages, they would regularly come to Dwaraka to take darshan of Krishna. Dwaraka is Govinda Bhujaguptayam. Dwarka is always protected by the very strong, powerful hands of Krishna. Dwaravatyam Kurudvaha. So that was the great, powerful city of Dwarka. And Narada Muni, he would come again and again. Although Krishna would send Narada Muni, you go and preach this message to all over the world. You don't have to come here. But Narada Muni, why he would come? Krishna Upasana Lalasa. He wanted to serve Lord Krishna. He wanted to take darshan of the Lord. Somebody may ask, but Narad Muni, he was cursed by Daksha. He could not stay at one place for long time. How is it that he was staying in this Dwarka for a long time? So it is described that Dwarka is not an ordinary place of this world. Dwarka is the abode of Krishna. It is a spiritual place. So therefore, the curse of Daksha was not acting in Dwarka. So that's why Narad Muni would come again and again. And then Shukdev Goswami says, who would not worship Krishna? Konurajan indriyevan mukunda charanambujam na bhajet sarvato mrityu upasyam amarottame. Who is that person who will not worship Krishna? Konurajan, O King Parikshit, who is that person who is indriyavan, just like Balavan, Dhanavan, Jnanavan, Indriyavan, one who has material senses. The conditioned living entities. Who is that conditioned soul? If he wants liberation from this place of death, Sarvato Mrityu, Mrityu is there everywhere in this world. Who is that person who wants to get liberated from this place of birth and death? Will not worship Krishna? Mukunda Charanam Bhujam na bhajet. Nobody can stop worshipping Krishna if he wants liberation from this world. Because Upasyam Amarottamai, Krishna is worshipped by great liberated souls. Amar Uttamai. The liberated souls also worship. Atma Ramasya Munayo Nirgrantha Purukrame Kurvantya Hetukim Bhakti Mitham Bhuta Guno Hari. Even great liberated souls, those who are Atma Ramas, those who are self-satisfied, they also take pleasure in Ahetuki Bhakti. So the purport, the disciples of Prabhupada, they describe in great detail the word Indriyavan and Sarvato Mrityu. So the conditioned soul in this world is struggling so very hard to enjoy. When a person, he is in young age, he thinks if I'll get married, I will enjoy. So very nice line, Prabhupada, the disciples write there. A conditioned soul wants to enjoy there, therefore he gets married, and as soon as there is a family that requires ever increasing support. In this way, his innocent and simple life is ended. Because he has to spend lots of his time taking care of the family. He is working so very hard. So that's how this world is a place of struggle for existence. And it is a sad part that although a person struggles whole life, but when he gets old, family members, they do not look at him properly. They do not take care of him, just like a farmer neglects a old ox, which is of no use. And very harsh statement, harsh reality is, it is written in the purport, the sons many times dream of receiving the father's money, but when they realize father is still alive, they wish secretly for the father's death. And therefore nobody wants to take care of the old people. That is a harsh reality of life in the material world. And therefore, there are many places, many people, they are even promoting euthanasia. Euthanasia means all these old people, they are already suffering so much, they should be given a peaceful death. So the purpose is to enjoy without any problems. And that's how the people are suffering. Sarvato mrityu. It is written, death suddenly appears, startling such confident sense gratifiers. People think I will enjoy my whole life. That's what was asked by Yaksha to Yudhishthir Maharaj. What is the greatest astonishing thing in the world? Yudhishthir Maharaj, he said, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti ha yamalayam sheshah sthavaramicchanti kimascharya atah param. In this world, everybody is dying. Every moment people are dying. But still, those who are surviving, they think, I will not die now. There is lots of time for me to live. So that is how people, they are so very illusioned by this material energy. And that's the purpose of this word sarvato mrityu and indriyavan. So once Narad Muni, he came to the home of Vasudev. So as Vasudev was thinking, I have not taken association of Krishna properly. Now Krishna is about to leave, it seems. So one day Narad Muni, when he came to the home of Vasudev, Vasudev welcomed Narad Muni and worshipped him with all the royal paraphernalia. He gave respectful gifts and bowed down in front of him. And then he started speaking very respectfully. He said, "O great sage, your visit to our home is like a visit of a father to his children. Just like a father always is concerned for the welfare of the children, great personalities, they are only concerned with the welfare of people in general. That is the purpose of the great personalities wandering. Mahadvichalam nrinam grihinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpate nanyatha kvachit." 10th canto describes Mahadvichalanam, great personalities, they travel only for one purpose. Grihinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya. Only for the one thing, for the welfare of people in general. Na kalpate anyatha kvachit. They don't have any other reason to travel. So therefore, Vasudev is saying, you are like father and we are like wretched personalities, absorbed and entangled in family affairs. So please give instructions to me. So therefore, he says, please instruct me so that I can become free from this sansara. So therefore, he says, Narad Muni describes Vasudev describes the glories of devotees. Bhutanam deva charitam sukhaya cha dukhaya cha sukhaya cha sukhaya eva hi sadhunam tvadrisham achyutatmanam. He says, the demigods, they are sometimes giving happiness and sometimes giving distress. But the saintly personalities, they are only giving happiness. That is the purpose of pure devotees of the Lord. They are only interested in welfare of people in general because they are sadhuna. They are saintly personalities. Who are these devotees of the Lord? Titikshava, Karunika, Surida, Sarvadehinam, Ajata Shatrava, Shanta, Sadhava, Sadhu Bhushana. Pure devotees are even superior to the devatas. They are titikshava, they are tolerant. You know, they may themselves undergo all the trouble to give happiness to the living entities. To preach this message of Krishna consciousness, devotees are ready to go through any insult, any trouble, any pain. We have heard in the 4th canto and 6th canto that after here Narad Muni, he delivered all the dynasty of Priyavrat. Ultimately, when this Haryashvas and Shavalashvas they Narad Muni made them brahmacharis, renunciants. He went to Daksha. Why did he go to Daksha? He knew that he'll be insulted, but his compassion was so much that he was thinking, I have delivered the entire dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrat, then Uttanapa, then Dhruva, then Prachinabari, then Prachetas, and Daksha, and then Haryashwas and Shaulashwas. Only Daksha is remaining. So I should go and deliver him also. They are ready to tolerate all the insults. They are Ajata Shatrava. They have no envy. They have no enemies. Sadhavo Sadhu Bhushana. These are the ornaments of a Vaishnava, most compassionate personality. And then they says that Devtas, they are actually the attendants of our karma. They are no more than that. Bhajanti yatha devan devapi tathaivatam chhayeva karma sachiva sadhavo deenavatsalah. Bhajanti, those who worship the Devatas, they receive in reciprocation whatever they have asked for. It is like going to a shopkeeper and asking something in return for money. Who are these Devatas? Chhayeva karma sachiva. They are the attendants of karma. Whatever actions we have performed, these Devatas, they are just appointed to give in return the karma to us. But Sadhavo, they are Deenvatsala. The devotees of the Lord, they are Deenvatsal. They are very, very compassionate to the wretched people, to the fallen people. That's why Devatas, they are great, but pure devotees are even superior. And the purport, it is written that the shadow of the body precisely follows the movements of the body. Similarly, the Devatas, they are helplessly following the instructions of Krishna. They have no separate strength to do anything. As Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, I am giving the power to these devatas so that they can give benedictions to their followers. So that's why Vasudeva is saying, I am not interested in worshipping the devatas. And you are great devotee of the Lord. You are much more superior than the devatas. So therefore, although just by your darshan I am satisfied, just by darshan of great devotees one gets purified. Darshane pavitra karo eit tomar gun. That is the glory of the devotees of the Lord. But then he says, but still, I wish to inquire you about the duties which gives pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What are the duties which are very, very dear to the Supreme Lord? Because he says, any mortal who faithfully hears about these duties which are pleasing to Krishna, he becomes free from the fear of this world. So this question very nicely describes the mood of a devotee. However exalted one may be, even if somebody is such a great devotee like Vasudeva, Nitya Siddha Bhakta, pure liberated soul, he is also expressing such humble inquiry in front of Narad Muni. That's how a devotee should be. A devotee never feels that I am such exalted personality. I am a greater devotee than this person. No. If somebody thinks I am greater than this person, I am more advanced, at that point he becomes more and more fallen. Because by nature, devotee can never feel that I am great. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena. So that is the quality of a devotee. So it is written there in the purport, this incomparable humility of a pure devotee like Vasudeva is far superior to the false humility of an impersonalist. The impersonalists, they may also behave as very, very humble devotees. But what is their purpose? Their purpose is to become one with the God, one with Krishna. So Vasudeva is saying, in the previous birth, I did so much of tapasya. I wanted a son. I wanted Lord to be my son. I was bewildered. Because why I worshipped? I was thinking if Lord will become my son, I'll get liberated. That's how I was bewildered. So actually Vasudeva and Devaki in the previous lives they were Prishni and Sutapa, and in that life they performed thousands of years of tapasya to please the Lord. But very interesting point, it is written there that Atri, we have discussed in the fourth canto, Atri Muni, he worshipped the Supreme Personality, although he was not knowing who is he. So he was worshipping the Supreme Personality, and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all three appeared. So Atri Muni, he prayed that I want a son like Supreme Lord. He did not want the Supreme Lord to be his son. So therefore Atri Muni was not a pure devotee. But Vasudeva, he wanted Krishna, Supreme Lord, to be his son. That's how he is a pure devotee. He is not a mixed devotee. So this inquiry and this humility of Vasudeva is the natural outcome of a pure devotee's ecstasy. So therefore Vasudeva is saying that please instruct me so that I can free myself from this material existence. This material existence is full of fear. And every step in this world, padam padam yat vipadam, problems and obstacles are there at every step in this world. Nobody knows what will happen when. Only by surrendering to a spiritual master like Vasudeva is doing, one can actually understand the futility of this material existence, and then he can become free from this fear. So then after describing, he says, please tell me how I can become free from the fear of material existence. So Narad Muni, when he heard such humble inquiry from Vasudeva, Narad Muni was reminded about Krishna. He became very happy. Rajan evam krita prashno vasudevena dhimata pritastam aha devarshir hare samsarito gunaihi. That's how a person, a great devotee, when he hears something about Krishna, he becomes happy. We have heard in the second canto when Narad Muni he went to Brahmaji and he asked, I think you are the Supreme Lord, right? Because you are creating, you are maintaining, and you are destroying everything by your own power. You are like a spider. The spider creates a web, maintains it, and then winds it up. You are like a person who has kept this entire world in his hand like a amalaki fruit. I think you are the supreme. Please tell me who is the Supreme Lord. So Narad Muni he tells Brahmaji, but there is one doubt I have. If you are all powerful, on whom you are meditating? Why are you doing so much of tapasya? There also Brahmaji told Narad Muni, Samyak karunikasjedam vatsate vichikitsitam yadaham chodita saumya bhagavad virya darshane. He says, O Narad Muni, you have done a great favor to me. You have given me a chance to speak about Krishna. Similarly, Narad Muni, when he heard such humble inquiry from Vasudeva, he became very happy. And Narad Muni says, Samyak evad samyagetad vyavasitam bhavata sattvatarshava yat prichase bhagavatan dharmam stam vishwabhavanan samyak etad vyavasitan. You have asked correctly. You have asked correctly about the duty of the living entity. Such questions, such inquiries, dharmam sto vishwa bhavanan. Such inquiry about devotional service can purify the entire universe. So Narad Muni is also becoming very happy. That's how when when the audience they ask questions, The speaker becomes very happy because whenever there is a discussion going on, somebody asks a question, three people get benefited. The person who is speaking, the person who is asking questions, and the third person who is hearing. All three are benefited when somebody asks a question. Just like Ganga purifies the three planetary systems, similarly, Krishna Katha purifies three types of people. We heard in the first canto also when the sages they asked six questions to Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami also glorifies them. Varyaneshate prashna krito lokahitam nripa atmavit sammata pumsam shrotavyadishu yakpara. O sages, what a wonderful question you have asked. Varyan, best question. Why? Lokahitam. This is for the benefit of living entities. This is for the welfare of the soul. Atmavit sammataha. This is worth hearing. People, they are interested in hearing so many things in this world. What this Bollywood star is doing, what this political leader is doing, what is happening in the world. These are not the questions which are worth hearing. Shrotavyadishu. Only question which is worth hearing and only answer which is worth hearing is that which is related to Krishna. When Shukdev Goswami asked, when Parikshit Maharaj asked a similar question to Shukdev Goswami at the end of first canto, Shukdev Goswami also glorified him. Munaya sadhu prishtoham bhavadbhir lokamangalam. Sorry, this is what sages they said in the first canto. Bhavadbhir lokamangalam. This question is for the welfare of people in general. So Narad Muni says, you have asked a wonderful question. Because you know what is the nature of devotional service? Shruto anupatito dhyata adrito va anumoditaha sadhya punadi saddharmo deva vishwa druhopihi. Anybody who hears about devotional service. Shruto anupatito. Anybody who chants the glories of devotional service. Dhyata, anybody who remembers the glories of devotional service. Adrito, faithfully and respectfully renders devotional service. Anumodita, this is interesting. Anybody who glorifies the person who is performing devotional service. If you are just glorifying a devotee who is advancing very nicely, you are also making the equal advancement. Just by being happy seeing the advancement of a devotee, we also advance equally. That's how simple it is. That's how simple the devotional service is. If we just are happy hearing about the devotional service which is performed by others, we also become equally benefited. So that is the wonderful nature of devotional service. Anumodita. What happens? Sadhya punati saddharmo. That person becomes purified. Who can get purified? Deva, Vishwa, Druhopi. Any person, even if he is enemy of the Devatas, even if he is enemy of all the living entities, he'll be purified of that mentality. So therefore, Narad Muni says that, you know, today you have made me remember Lord. I am so very happy with you. You have given me a chance to speak about Krishna. Simply by listening about Krishna, one becomes pure, one becomes pious. Then he says, to answer your question, you know, I'll recite a conversation, I'll relate a history. One time, there were great sages, Navayogendra. They met King Nimi, the king of Videha. Who were these Navayogendras? They were the sons of Rishabha. So now Narad Muni gives the genealogy of the Navayogendras. We have heard it in the fifth canto. Brahmaji, from him he was born, Swambhuva Manu was born. Swambhuva Manu's son was Priyavrat. His son was Agnidra. Agnidra's son was Nabhi. Nabhi's son was Rishabdev, the supreme personality of Godhead himself. Rishabdev, he had 100 sons. Out of these 100 sons, eldest was Bharat, the great Bharat. We have heard in detail about Bharat Maharaj. And then there were nine other brothers of Bharat who became Kshatriyas. Kinnara, Hari, Kuru, Hiranyamaya, Ramyaka, Ilavrata, Bhadrashvan, Ketumal. They became the rulers of the 9 Varshas of Bhumandala, Jambudvipa. Apart from that, there were 81 sons who became Karma Kandi Brahmanas. And there were 9 sons of Rishabdev who became Paramhamsas, great renunciants, great devotees of the Lord. And they were called as Nava Yogendras. Their names are Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pippalayan, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamas, and Karbhajan. So that is the history, that is the genealogy in which, that is the dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu, in which Navyogendras they are coming. So these Navyogendras, they would travel all over the world without any obstacle. They could go to all the planetary systems without any obstacle. And therefore, they were such pure devotees of the Lord, they were seeing Supreme Lord everywhere. They were on the level of Uttama Adhikari. And in the purport, disciples of Prabhupada, they describe how the universe is a manifestation of the Supreme Lord. And that's how these great devotees, they were seeing everything in relation with the Supreme Lord. Idam hi vishwam bhagwan ivetaro yato jagat sthana nirodha sambhavaha. What is this material universe? This universe is the manifestation of the Supreme Lord. It is coming from the Supreme Lord. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. This universe, because it is coming from the complete Lord, this universe is also complete. That's how Lord is pervaded in the entire universe. Maya tadaminzam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina bhumi rapo analo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankar itiyam me bhinna prakriti. This is my separated potency. So these Navyogendras, they would travel everywhere and nobody could check their movements. So once, as they were traveling, they went to Ajanabha. Ajanabha means Bharata Varsha. And they came to see the sacrifice of the king of Videha, Maharaj Nimi. So Maharaj Nimi, when he saw these great devotees of the Lord, they were famous all over the world. So when Maharaj Nimi, he saw these great Navyogendras coming in his country, he became very happy. He got up from his seat, he welcomed him very nicely. These sages, they were so very powerful. They were glowing like sun. They were so very brilliant. They were effulgent. And everyone present, including all the Brahmanas, and it is said that even the fire of sacrifice stood up in respect to welcome these great Navyogendras. That's how glorious they were. Even the fire of sacrifice stood up. Just by seeing these great sages, Maharaj Nimi could understand that these are great exalted devotees of the Lord. So therefore he welcomed them and offered them nice place to sit, worshipped them, washed their feet. And he worshipped them as good as the Supreme Personality. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra Uktastatha Bhavyat Eva Sadbhi. That's how spiritual masters should be worshipped. When Prabhupada, he once went to Australia and the devotees, they had arranged a Rolls Royce for him to receive him on the airport. One reporter, he came and asked, Swamiji, sadhu, saintly personalities, they are supposed to live a simple life. And I am seeing that your disciples, they have brought this Rolls Royce for you. So Prabhupada, sometimes he would give such amazing answers, people would become dumbstruck. So Prabhupada said, what is this Rolls Royce? Some tin, rubber, metal. That's all. I am representative of the Supreme Lord. Who is Supreme Lord? He is Akhil Koti Brahmand Nayak. He is controller of the entire creation. He is a proprietor. So as a representative, I also deserve the same respect. What is this Rolls Royce? Even golden Rolls Royce would not be sufficient. And this reporter was struck with wonder. He could not speak anything. That is the glory of a devotee of the Lord. He is worshipped on an equal level as the Supreme Lord. He never considers himself to be the great devotee. He never considers himself to be the Supreme Lord. But he should be worshipped on the same level. So the king, he bowed down his head in front of the sages and he asked the 9 sages. So these 9 sages, they were effulgent as Kumaras. So first of all, King Nimi, he glorified the devotees of the Lord. He said, I think you are the direct associates of the Lord. You are wandering just to purify all the living entities. Pavanaya hi charantihi. You have no other purpose. That's why the devotees, they travel. They are themselves purified. They don't need anything. They can sit at one place and be absorbed in meditation on the Supreme Lord. Why do they travel? Why do they take all the effort? Just to purify living entities. One time, Prabhupada, he was in one temple in America, and uh, one devotee, he realized that, Srila Prabhupada, he had some pain in his knees. He was limping. So he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, are you having some pain in your knees? Prabhupada said, whenever I travel in the plane because of the pressure, I feel intense pain in my knees, but I never tell this to anyone. This is how great devotees are. They are ready to go through all the pains just to preach this message of Krishna consciousness. What was the need for Prabhupada to leave Vrindavan and go to America? For the welfare of people in general, for every one of us. So, sorry. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that these 2 verses describe how king welcomed these great devotees. Because why will the associates of Lord Vishnu come here? Only for the welfare of people in general. And then he says very, very famous verse. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam shanabhangurah tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priyadarshanam. He says Durlabha manasa deha. This human body is difficult to obtain. Dehinam shanabhangura, it can be lost at any moment. But there is something more difficult than this is. What is that? Tatrapi durlabham manye. Even more difficult than this attaining this human body is Vaikuntha Priyadarshanam. Having the association of the devotees of the Lord. It is all the more rare. So therefore, this is how the devotee association is glorified. So in the purport, the rare nature of the human body is described. It is so very rare, rarely obtained. Nridehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham lavam sukalpam gurukarnadharam mayanukule nabhasvateritam puman bhavabdhim nataret sa atmaha. This body is like a perfectly made boat in which we can cross this ocean of material existence. Spiritual master is like the captain of the boat. The scriptures are like the favorable winds. Those who do not take advantage of this opportunity, they are killer of the soul. So we can make our life perfect by the simple process of hearing and chanting, Shravanam Kirtanam. That's why it is so very blissful process. Susukham kartum avyayam. And then he says, actually, I want to ask few questions. So now, Maharaj Nimi, he will ask 9 questions, and all these Navyogendras, they will answer 1 question each. So now first question Maharaj Nimi is asking. अत आत्यंतिकं क्षेमं पृच्छामो भवतो नघ संसारेऽस्मिन् शनार्धेऽपि सत्संग शेवधिर्नृणाम्. So in 11th canto, you'll find very, very powerful, famous verses. This is one of the very, very important cantos. And many verses, they are like the definitions. Whatever we have heard many times in our Krishna consciousness, it is from 11th canto. So this is also one of the famous verses. Ata atyantikam shemam prichamo bhavato. O sinless one, I ask you the highest benefit, that which is the supreme good for everyone. Prichamo bhavato, I ask you, O sinless one, anagha, samsarasmin shana ardhepi. After all, even half moment's association with pure devotees of the Lord, satsangaha shevadhi. Shevadhi means it is the greatest treasure. Shevadhir ninam. Interesting purport is written by Chakravarti Thakur. He says, when a guest comes, generally we ask about his welfare, right? How are you? Is everything okay at your place? But to inquire about the welfare of Atmaramas, it is not good. When a great devotee comes, we do not ask, is your bhakti going on nicely? Because it is foolish question to ask. So to inquire Atmaramas who are very form of auspiciousness, bhavato anagha, they are completely sinless, pure. It is inappropriate to ask about their welfare. To ask about their health, somebody may think pure devotee, we should ask about their health. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that is also a useless question. Because a pure devotee is not concerned with his health. Therefore, only question worth asking is, one should ask about one's own spiritual welfare. When you meet a great devotee, you should not ask, how are you? You should ask, how am I? That's how we should ask. That's the question we should ask. Am I doing good in spiritual life? Please instruct me. So he says, you are anagha. You are completely sinless, and therefore, just by your presence, you can destroy all my sins. But still, there is a goal which I want to strive for. What is that goal? I want pure devotional service. Somebody may say, okay, बाद में भी पूछ सकते हैं नहीं? अभी अभी आए हैं वो, they have come just now. Why you are rushing so much? You can ask this later. Why? What is a rush? He says half a moment association is more valuable. Shanardhepi, even half a moment association is valuable. And I don't know whether I'll have a long association. By chance, if I miss the association, just like a beggar, if he is told, I'll give you a very priceless treasure, he'll say, give it now. He'll be ready to grab it at once. That's how our living entity is. That's how conditioned soul should be. A person who is eager to advance in Krishna consciousness, he should not delay. Whenever some opportunity to advance in bhakti comes, we should grab it. बाद में कर लेंगे, इतनी भी क्या जल्दी है, आज करे सो कल कर, कल करे सो परसों, इतनी भी क्या जल्दी है, जब जीना है बरसों. If we have this philosophy, then it is very, very difficult to advance. Eager. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. That's what Maharaj Nimi is telling us. Shanardhepi. Even half a moment association is so very valuable. That's the greatest treasure. Shevadhi. Shevadhi means the greatest treasure for a conditioned soul. Then after hearing this, the Navyogendras, they ask, okay, so what is your desire? You are asking, please give your mercy. What is your desire? What do you want? So then Nimi Maharaj asks first question about bhakti. He says, O great devotees of the Lord, O great Mahabhagavatas, please speak about the process of devotional service. Dharman Bhagavatan Bhuta Yadina Shrutaye Kshamam Yai Prasanna Prapannaya Dasyatya Atmanam Apyajaha. If you think I am qualified, then please speak about the process of devotional service. A devotee never demands, I want to advance in devotional service and you have to give me your mercy. If you think I am qualified, then you can please instruct me. That's what Arjuna tells to Krishna. If you think I am qualified, then please instruct me. You know. So therefore, Lord is ready to give everything to his devotee. So Nimi is saying, when Lord is satisfied, he can give his own self to his devotee. So that's how Lord is so very eager. But only problem is we are not so eager. Lord is controlled by his devotees. Evam sandarshita hi anga harina bhrityavashyata swavashena krishnena yasyedam saishwaram vase. In the 10th canto, in Damodar Leela, Krishna is showing how he is controlled by devotees. How Yashoda Mai completely controls him. How Pandavas completely control Krishna. सारथ्य पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य वीरासनानुगमनस्तवन प्रणामान् स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत् प्रणतिं च विष्णो भक्तिं करोति नृपतिश्चरणारविन्दे. Krishna is ready to become the messenger, chariot driver, servant, protector, everybody for Pandavas. Why? Snigdheshu. Because Pandavas were malleable to the will of the Lord, Lord was malleable to the will of the Pandavas. So that is the glory of devotional service. So please speak about devotional service. So now Kavi, Sri Kavi, the first of the Navayogendras, he starts speaking about the Bhagavat Dharma. So he says, first of all, he tells, because Vasudev, he asked Narad Muni, how should I become fearless? So the same thing is addressed by Kavi, how one can become fearless. Manne kutaschit abhayam achyutasya padambujopasanamatra nityam udvigna buddhe asatatma bhavad vishwatmana yatra nivartate bhi. Manne kutaschit abhayam. I consider that one can achieve real freedom from fear by achyutasya padambujopas upasanam, by worshipping the lotus feet of Achyuta. Because atra, in this world, nityam udvigna, one is constantly disturbed, agitated, troubled in this material world. Therefore, why one is disturbed? Why one is troubled? Asat atma bhava buddhe. Our intelligence is always thinking, oh, this is mine and this is not mine. This is me, this is mine. Because we are seeing the world in terms of me and mine, we are always disturbed. I have to get this. I have to protect him. This is my body. This is my wife, my children, my family, my relatives, my wealth, my. That's why we are disturbed. So therefore, if one renders devotional service, Vishwatmana Yatra, if one renders devotional service, then one can become fearless. All the so-called religious activities of the world, people generally, and in India also, many times people think, I am also a spiritual personality, but they are not spiritual. They are just enjoying sense gratification in the garb of spirituality. Just like if you put lemon on the food, it enhances the flavor. Similarly, people add few drops of spirituality to enhance their sense gratification. It gives them feeling that I am also spiritual, but there is nothing spiritual in that, because what they want, sense gratification, and the result is fear and anxiety. So therefore, only bhakti can give one fearlessness. What is the process of becoming fearless? Ye vai bhagavata prokta upaya hi atmalabdhaye anjah pumsam avidusham vidhi bhagavatan hitan. Ye vai bhagavata prokta, the process which is recommended by the Lord. What is that? Bhagavata prokta. That is the Bhagavat Dharma. That is the only upay. केवल एक ही उपाय है, भागवत धर्म. Only bhakti can make one fearless. Anja. Anja means very easily one can become liberated from fear. Even avidusha, even a person who is an ignorant person, he can also get liberated just by knowledge of devotional service. So Bhagavad Dharma is so very significant. That is the essence of whole scriptures. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param. That is the supreme aradhana. All the scriptures are meant to come to this conclusion. Worship Krishna. That is the essence. So purport, it is described that in Bhagavad Gita we have heard that Bhagavad Gita is a supreme instruction. It is the essence of Bhagavad Dharma, right? Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Bhagavad Dharma, but the knowledge which is there in Bhagavad Gita, it was a emergency uh, thing which is given to Arjuna. Therefore, Krishna did not explain everything about devotional service in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna was thinking, okay, I gave knowledge, but I could not give my full knowledge. So now, Krishna is giving this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in the 11th canto to Uddhava. So we'll be discussing Uddhava Gita. Uddhava Gita is a complete knowledge of devotional service, much more superior than the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is like a glimpse of devotion. How to render devotion, what is the intricacies, what are the intricacies, and what are the various uh, minute details of devotional service, they are not mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. That will be described in Uddhava Gita. So therefore, only by rendering devotional service one can become free. And then, uh, Kavi said that Anja, very easily one can become pure. What is the easy thing in bhakti? That is now described. Yana sthaya naro rajan na pramadet karhichit dhavan nimilya vanetre na skhalen na patediha. Very interesting, very wonderful verse, shows the power of the process, power of devotional service. O Rajan, O King Nimi, whoever has accepted this process of devotional service with faith, na pramadet karhichit, will never blunder on this path. Even if he runs with his eyes closed. Wonderful, Dhavan means running, nimilya va netre. And if you have tried ever running with your eyes closed, you cannot run. So very fearful. Dhavan nimilya va netre. Even if you run on this path of devotional service with eyes closed, na skhalen, na patet. You will never trip, you will never fall. What does this mean? It is explained by Acharyas. Taking shelter of bhakti, having faith in bhakti, is the very, very important part of Krishna consciousness. What to speak of actually performing it? If somebody has faith, he will get some benefit. If he performs, how much benefit he'll get? Na pramadyet means a devotee never becomes inattentive. A devotee is very, very focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, very focused. If a devotee is not distracted, he is always inattentive, obstacles cannot overpower him. He will never get distracted from the path of devotional service if he is very, very attentive. And therefore, taking shelter of the bhakti is so very powerful that even if he runs with his eyes closed, one will not fall. What does that mean? Running means even if somebody performs only one anga of bhakti, there are 9 angas, 9 primary angas, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, all that. out of these 9, इसमें से थोड़ा सा भी किया ना, एक भी, even if you perform one of the 9 angas, you will get benefited. You will get advanced. You will get pure devotional service in due course of time. That is not the case with karma. That is not the case with jnana. That is not the case with ashtanga. You have to follow all the rituals perfectly. In bhakti, even if you do one, that also not perfectly, you will get benefited. Dhavan nimilyavanetre, even if you don't know any of the rules and regulations while performing devotional service, even if you don't know how to offer arti, just doing arti, that's how Prabhupada, when he installed deities in America for the first time, like Jagannath Baldev, what was the installation ceremony? He told, bring candles. So one devotee, he brought candle. And then Prabhupada said, okay, now you have to move this candle, around the deity. How many times? जब तक हाथ दुखे नहीं तब तक करते रहो, you know, and then give to other. That's how they started deity installation. And now installation in ISKCON is a 3-day process. Dhavan nimilyavanetre, even if you don't know the rules and regulations. Prabhupada installed deities at one place, and then he was leaving. He said, please offer bhoga every day to the Lord. So these were all new people. So Prabhupada left, he came back after 6 months. And the temple was flourishing, more and more devotees were joining in. So Prabhupada, he asked, so are you offering food to the deities? So the devotee said, yes, Prabhupada, we are offering every day. 6 times a day we are offering. But we could not understand one thing. What is this bhoga? ये bhoga क्या होता है? So that was their level of understanding. Okay, there was some network issue. Okay, so so that's how Prabhupada, he gave the rules and regulations. He did not give all. And Prabhupada started introducing some rules and regulations. Devotee, they complained, Prabhupada, so many rules and regulations. Prabhupada said, this is nothing. If I'll tell you everything, you will faint. Na skhalen, na pate, dhavan nimilyavanetre. Even if you don't know the rules and regulations, still you will not fall. What to speak of if somebody performs bhakti with awareness? How advanced he'll become? That is the beauty of devotional service. Very easily one can advance. And on top of that, what is the glorious position of devotional service? Our Lord is there to give protection. Lord himself says, Ananya Shintayanto Mam Ye Jana Pariupasate Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. I protect what my devotee has. I provide what they lack. I give them knowledge. I destroy the ignorance. Dadami buddhi yogam. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. I personally carry the devotee out of this material world. What greater insurance, what greater assurance do we need? That is the glory of devotional service. So when Prabhupada, he was in the in the West, and he was attracting lots of devotees, lots of people were joining, and all were Westerners. They did not know how to pronounce mantras. So once when they came to India, and they were chanting and pronouncing all the mantras during one yagya, one person told Prabhupada, Swamiji, their pronunciation is not good. Prabhupada said, their pronunciation may not be good, but their renunciation is good. Just by hearing little, you have become so advanced. Somebody came and told Prabhupada, Swamiji, I was looking throughout your class, 100% of the time your disciples were sleeping. Prabhupada said, 100%? He said, Swamiji, 95% of the time they were sleeping. Prabhupada said, just see, by hearing 5%, they have become so very great devotees. What if they would hear 100%? What will happen? And just see yourself, what are you doing? You are still drinking tea, coffee, you are not chanting. That is a process of devotional service. Dhavan nimilyavanetre na skhalen na patediha. How to perform this process of devotional service? Again, very famous mantra. After every Ganpati Aarti, this mantra is sung. कायेन वाचा मनसैन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा नुसृतस्वभावा करोति यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणयेति समर्पयेत् तत्. Very famous mantra. Very few people they know the meaning of this. Kayena with my body, vacha with my words, manasa with mind, indriya with my senses, buddhya with my intelligence. All these faculties should be engaged in service of the Supreme Lord. Karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai, whatever conditional nature you have, whatever swabhava you have, engage in the service of the Lord. Karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai, whatever one does, narayana yeti samarpayet, offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chakravarti Thakur says, just like materialistic person, right from the time he gets up, bathing, responding to the call of nature, brushing teeth, whatever he does throughout the day, the purpose is how I can enjoy. The devotee may be doing the same thing. Purpose is how can I serve Krishna better. So that's how we have to engage all our faculties in service of Krishna. Tad buddhaya, tad atmana, tad nishtha, tad parayana, gachanti apunaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashah. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, we have to engage our four faculties in service of Krishna. Buddhi, our intelligence, our mind, our faith, and our shelter. Then we'll become purified in due course of time. Some people, they think, why God has to be offered everything? God should be humble. God should accept with whatever humble offering I am giving him. You should not demand more. So that's how materialists think. Somebody was telling that in Satya Yuga, people, they would offer everything to God and they would keep very little for themselves. In Treta Yuga, they started offering 50% to God. Dwapar Yuga came, then the level still came down. They would draw a line. They would throw the money in the air. Whatever falls on the other side belongs to God. Whatever is there on this side belongs to me. In Kali Yuga, what people do? They throw the money in the air and tell God, whatever you can catch is yours and the rest is mine. That's how people have become degraded. Karoti yadya sakalam, whatever you are doing, offer it to Krishna. This is not pure devotion. This is mixed devotion, but still, at least we can start from this point, And then he says, if you are doing like this, then you will become fearless. This is again very, very, very famous verse. We have heard hundreds of times this verse. Bhayam ditya biniveshatasya ishadapetasya viparyayo smriti tanmayayato bhuja bhajetam bhaktyesha ekam gurudev tatma. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatasya. Prabhupada quoted this verse hundreds of times. Why a person is fearful in this world? Dvitiya abhiniveshata. Dvitiya means this is mine and this is belonging to God. This dual mentality, ये मेरा है और ये बाकी सब भगवान का. If somebody has this mentality, he will always be fearful. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshata. A living entity starts identifying himself with the body. This body is mine. Ishad apetasya. And therefore, when he turns towards the Supreme Lord, then he becomes fearless. Otherwise, one has viparyaya smriti. He forgets his relationship with the Supreme Lord. He forgets that I am Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishna Nityadas. I am servant of Krishna, eternal living entity. Tanmaya yato. Because of this, he gets affected due to the illusion. Maya overcomes the living entity because of this, mentality of lording over this material world. This is me, and things which are related to this body is mine. Atma, Jaya, Suta, Agar, Pashu, the wind, Bandhu, and Rajya. Buddha Abhajetam, intelligent person worships the Supreme Lord. Only by worship of the Supreme Lord one can become fearless. When one renders service to the spiritual master, learns the spiritual knowledge, then one can become fearless. So therefore, the fear is when we start identifying ourselves with the body. Nitya Baddha Krishna Haite Nitya Bahirmukh Nitya Samsara Bhunje Nara Kadi Dukh. Because living entity always try to enjoy in this world, he suffers so many of the problems. सही दोषे माया पिशाची दंड करे तारे आध्यात्मिक तापत्रय तारे jari mare. Because of that mentality, a living entity is tormented by Maya Devi. काम क्रोधेर दास हइया तारलाथी खाए भ्रमिते भ्रमिते यदि साधु वैद्य पाए. And because of that, he gets kicked by material nature again and again. But if he comes in association of devotees, surrenders to Krishna, Daivi Hiesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Material nature is insurmountable. But if somebody surrenders to Krishna, Mameviye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. That's how a living entity, when starts worshipping the Supreme Lord, he becomes fearless. Otherwise, one cannot become free from this material world. A living entity who is completely engrossed in family life, for him, the material desires, they are like the chain which bind him. His home is like a prison house in which he is shackled. Tavad ragadayastena tavat kar griham griham yavan mohongre nigado yavan krishna natejana. Those who are non-devotees, they are shackled by the desire to enjoy in this world. Only by service of the Supreme Lord one can become free. And this starts by taking shelter of the spiritual master. Somebody may say, but one who does not have attachments, enjoyments like, getting garland and surrounded by women, if somebody lives in the forest, then he will not be having fear, right? Maharaj, this Kavi says, no, it is not the case. Mind is always there. Mind is the cause of attachment. Even if somebody enters the forest, he does not go alone, he goes with 6 wives, mind and 6 senses. So therefore, till the time the mind is not purified, till the time the mind does not become free from the tendency of enjoyment, fear will be there. So therefore, controlling the mind is very, very important. How to control the mind? It starts with rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. Guru Devatatma. Only by rendering devotional service to the Supreme Lord and his representative, mind can become controlled. What will be the result if one gets controlled mind? Then he starts preaching activity. When one becomes fearless, then he should start preaching. Shrinvan subhadrani rathanga pane janmani karmani chayani loke gitani namani tadarthakani gayan vilajjo vicharet asangaha. A person, a devotee who becomes fearless, what does he do? He starts traveling all over the world without any fear. Vilajja, without any shame, he starts preaching this message. He does not stay in association of non-devotees. He starts preaching this message all over the world. Prithvite acheta nagaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam. That is the activity of a person who has become fearless. What is the result of this fearless preaching? You will attain love of God. Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya jatanurago drutachitta uchchaih hasatyatharao datirauti gayan unmadvanrityati lokabahya. The devotee who experiences pure love of God, Priyanama Kirtya, one who engages in chanting the name of the Lord, he takes a vow. He's so very fixed in chanting, he takes a vow of chanting. Jatanurago, he develops attachment for the chanting the names of the Lord. And what he does, sometimes his heart completely melts in love of God. He starts crying very loudly, sometimes laughs very loudly. Drutachitta hasati, raudati, sometimes cries, sometimes sings, sometimes chants, sometimes dances. Unmadava, just like a madman. That's what happens when we are dancing in Kirtan, and outsider, when he comes, he sees pagal ho gaye log, mad people. Unmadavan rityati lok bahaya. He does not care for the public opinion. Log kya sochenge? If I'll dance in Kirtan, what will people think? If I'll chant with bead bag in my hand, if I go around, what will people think? He does not care for the public opinion. He is absorbed in the ecstasies of the holy name. And therefore, this devotee, he is not only just concerned about himself, he is concerned about the entire world. And then the result of this vision, what happens? He achieves greatest of the happiness. Again, very, very famous verse. What one achieves by practicing pure devotional service? Bhakti paresha anubhavo virakti anyatra chaishatrika eka kalaha prapadyamanasya yathashnatasyu tushti pushti kshutapayo nughasam. Just like when somebody starts taking food, with every morsel of food, three things happen. Tushti, pushti, and kshut apayo anughasam. One becomes satisfied, one becomes nourished, and the hunger goes down. Similarly, with the process of devotional service, by the practice of devotional service, three things should happen. Devotion should increase in the heart. Para ish anubhava. One should get the experience of the Supreme Lord. Virakti. One gets detached from the material world. That should happen. If we are not becoming detached from the material world, there is some problem. We are not practicing bhakti then. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Ashu Vairagya. Vairagya has to come. If we are rendering genuine devotional service, Vairagya has to come. What is the difference between Virakti and Vairagya? Vairagya means the taste for sense gratification is still there, but I don't want to enjoy. I will not engage in sense gratification. Mind is hankering for sense gratification, but I will not enjoy. Virakti means the taste for enjoyment is gone. Just like Yamunacharya says, whenever I remember the association of women, my lips curl in distaste and I spit at that thought. That is Virakti. Virakti has to come. Just like, when somebody eats, one gets satisfied, one gets nourished, and the hunger decreases. When one practices bhakti, detachment has to come. Prapadyamanasya yathashnatashu tushti pushti kshut apayo anughasam. When somebody starts eating, you give him a chappan bhog to eat. Person is very hungry, Dwadashi, Nirjal Ekadashi ke baad Dwadashi, and where all the nice items are there in front of you. You become completely disinterested in anything which is happening, focused on eating. That's how a devotee is. When he experiences the taste of bhakti, everything else becomes distasteful. He becomes uninterested, just absorbed in Krishna. Kastrupniya tirthpado vidhanat. Who can be satisfied by hearing about Krishna? That is the glorious nature of bhakti. And therefore, devotee he attains the supreme peace by rendering devotional service. Vihaya kaman yas sarvan pumam charati nispriha nirmamo nirhankara sashantim madhigacchati. He attains the supreme peace. That's the nature of devotional service. And then, you know, after this, Maharaj Nimi asks second question. I'll just take 10 more minutes to complete this chapter. Maharaj Nimi asks the second question. अथ भागवतं ब्रूत यद्धर्मो यादृशो नृणां यथाचरति यद्ब्रूते यर्लिङ्गै भगवत्प्रियः. He says, O great sage, please describe the symptoms and characteristics of Vaishnavas. So first question was about bhakti, second question is about bhakta. He is asking about the symptoms of the devotees of the Lord. What are the religious principles a devotee follows? What are the proclivities of a devotee? What is the behavior of a devotee? What is the speech of a devotee? How can one identify a devotee? These are the questions he asks. So in short, Nimi Maharaj is asking about Madhyama, Kanishtha, Madhyama and Uttama Adhikari. So now Havi is replying. First was Kavi. Now Havi is replying about the nature and categories of devotees. Again, the very, very famous verses we have heard in Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrit, Nectar of Devotion, Ishopnishad, everywhere Prabhupada quotes this. Who is a Uttamadhikari? He sees Supreme Lord everywhere. Sarva Bhuteshu yap pashed Bhagavad Bhavam Atmanah Bhagavadi Bhutani Bhagavate Atmani Esha Bhagavatottamaha. The pure devotee of the Lord, he sees Supreme Lord in every living entity. Esha Bhagavatottama, one who sees Supreme Lord everywhere. Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, who sees Krishna in heart of every living entity. Just like Hiranyakashipu, when he asked Prahlad, where is your God? Is he there in this pillar? Prahlad said, yes, he is there everywhere. He is there in this pillar also. That is a position of a great devotee. He is not interested in any materialistic desires. For him, he sees entire world as a Vaikuntha. Because he does not see anything wrong. He sees everything in connection with the Supreme Lord. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. That is a vision of a pure devotee. He is personally uncritical. He does not criticize devotees. That's why pure devotee has to come, Uttamadhikari has to come to the Madhyama to start preaching, because Madhyama discriminates. Madhyamadhikari discriminates. And one interesting point is written in the purport that one should not disrespect any devotee of the Lord. Even if somebody is a neophyte devotee, Kanishta Adhikari, one should never ever disrespect any devotee of the Lord, because nobody can understand. Prabhupada would say, if you know who is the devotee sitting next to you, you will faint. Somebody may have joined Krishna consciousness recently, but he will become a pure devotee very soon. So one should never disrespect. And then Havi, he describes about Madhyama and Kanishtha. Who is a Madhyama? Madhyamadhikari, he sees four types of people with four different visions. Ishware tad adhineshu balisheshu dvisatsu cha prema maitri kripa upeksha yah karoti samadhyama. He loves the Supreme Lord, makes friendship with devotees, shows mercy to the innocent, and neglects the envious. Neglect is a very proper medicine for a person who is envious of Krishna. Otherwise, if we go and preach the envious person, he will criticize and offend Supreme Lord even more. He will fall down even more. Who is a Kanishtadhikari? Kanishtadhikari is just interested in worshipping deities. Archaya meva hariye. He thinks only deities and me. बीच में कोई नहीं आना चाहिए. He is not interested in devotees. He just thinks that deities and me. He has very, very soft faith. He has very little knowledge of the scriptures. That is a Kanishtha Adhikari. So in detail, in the purport, huge purport is written to describe the four things of a Madhyam Adhikari, how he deals with devotee, how he deals with envious people, how he deals with innocent people. And then Nimi Maharaj Haviji describes about the conduct of an Uttam Adhikari. Uttam Adhikari is always transcendental. In any circumstance, he is always transcendental. He does not get elated, he does not get depressed when when he gets something or when he loses something, when he is insulted or when he is praised. He is always equipoised. And then Haviji describes the symptoms of a Uttamadhikari. He always remains aloof from material entanglements. He is not bewildered by the various miseries which are there in this material world. What is the attitude of a Uttamadhikari? He does not feel even a tinge of pride. He is completely self-satisfied. Although he may be very, very highly qualified, learned, educated, wealthy, but he has no pride. That is a devotee. Janma, karma, vaya, rupa, vidya, aishwarya, dhanadibhi, yadi yasya na bhavet sambha tatrayam madanugrahat. Vamana Devi is telling to Bali Maharaj, if a person has good wealth, high birth, beauty, strength, knowledge, but still he is humble, you should know that this person has received my mercy. That is a pure devotee of the Lord. And therefore, a pure devotee, Uttamadhikari, he gives up all the selfish conception of me and mine. He is not interested in any bodily comforts. And therefore, he is only focused on worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. He thinks, my only position is I am the servant of the Lord. And what is the effect of worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord? All the material sufferings cease for that devotee. That is a glorious position of the devotee of the Lord. He is just interested in glorifying the holy names of the Lord. So with these, Haviji ends the description of the three types of devotees. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If any of you have any questions, you can please ask. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll stop here. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.